All right, everyone, this is Melissa Anger. Thank you for joining us tonight. I have 7 o'clock on the dot, so we're going to go ahead and get started so that we're not taking up too much of your evening. I appreciate everyone that has taken the time out to join us tonight and prepare for the 2018 basketball season. So just a couple things we're going to go over tonight. I'll reintroduce the sports management team. We added a couple of new people, and one or two has decided that they don't want to be on it, which happens, and they're still going to be around volunteering. They're just not going to be on the management team. We're also going to talk about the registration dates, team assessment forms, qualifiers, some rules, the coach's code of conduct, which is new as of a couple months ago, and then talk about captains. We have a couple slides in there about the polar bear plunge, and then get to your questions. Just like in the past, I think for the last year-ish, we've gone a different way, and you can now answer ask all your questions in the question function. It should be on your panel for the GoToWebinar. And I have Mike Zarnowski on as well, and he will be able to type in any questions that you guys have. He'll interrupt, break into the webinar if there's something that he believes everyone should hear. And then there's also the function where you can raise your hand if you have a question, and we will unmute you. So 2 different ways that you can ask questions during the webinar. Preferably, we're going to ask if you can hold all questions until the end, unless you want to type it in, and Mike can answer those for you. So sports management team for basketball, we have Andy Robillard, who is an athlete and a 3-on-3 official from Frederick County. Keith Lampel is our head official. Jaisha Rhodes is one of our top officials, and she took over as the head official responsibilities last year when Keith was out with an injury. So we appreciate everything that 2 of them do, plus all of our other officials that come out. Can't do this without them. Some coaches, we have Jack Healy and Jack Burke from Howard County. We have Jim Berdone, who is the 5-on-5 coordinator for Howard County. Don Bewick from St. Mary's County. Dean Krimmel from Baltimore County. Marva Davis, who was a 5-on-5 coach. I believe she's coaching again this year, as well as the area director for Washington County. And Craig Robillard, kind of honorary member. He helps if needed, and when he can, more to support his son Andy. Obviously, just like with any of our events in sports, no athlete or volunteer can participate in any manner without a valid and current medical form or volunteer application. There's absolutely no exceptions for this. Everyone participating, coach, volunteer, athlete, unified partner, everyone must have a valid form. Valid through the end of the season, which is April 8th. They have to have it valid through April 8th, or they cannot participate. Just some of the registration deadlines. January 25th is the training registration. That is where all athletes, unified partners, coaches, and volunteers participating, whether they're practicing or on a team, must be entered into GMS into 2018 sports training combined. Okay? They must be in there by the 25th of January. No excuses. On that day, I'll send out a GMS report that lists everyone that is in training. I'm sorry, I'll do it the next day, so it gives everyone a chance for the entire day. Send out a report to confirm that everyone is in. At that time, you can enter someone in that was forgotten. Okay? February 5th, we have 2 things due on that day. The team rosters and assessments, which was a new form last year. Those are due, and I'm sorry, that should say 2018 basketball team assessment form. That will be submitted to me. You will not send that to your regional sports director. You will send that directly to me. And I, at that point, and some of my colleagues that will help, will enter everyone into their teams into GMS. So at that point, your rosters are set. There's no changing the rosters at that time. Okay? Once your form, I will enter them into GMS, into their teams. After I've entered everyone into the teams, I'll send it out to everyone. I am human. I make mistakes, obviously not on purpose. Confirm your roster. Okay? The roster that I submit to you is a roster that must be used. No deviation. I don't want to hear it states, oh, this person was left off the roster. They've been on the roster since day one. You need to confirm with me that those people, that those rosters are correct. No exemptions. Okay? February 5th is also the last day for forms to be submitted to SOMD headquarters. And as I said previously, this is all medicals, all volunteer applications for coaches, unified partners, volunteers. By this time, all coaches, and that is all head coaches, assistant coaches, must have a concussion certification and protective behaviors. That all needs to be submitted prior to this day, February 5th. And everything must be valid through April 8th, 2018, okay, which is the Sunday of the state basketball tournament. Okay?
Melissa, this is Mike.
Yep.
There's one thing on the thing there. The protective behaviors, it also applies to all partners and volunteers as well. We'll edit that before the slides go out tomorrow, but it looks like that was left off of that little section. So protective behavior applies to everybody who's not an athlete, all coaches, volunteers, partners, etc. Thanks. And hi, everybody.
Sorry about that. At this time, also on February 5th, all coaches must have coaching special Olympics certification for their sport. So for basketball, this needs to be completed. Later on, I will show you there is going to be one more training other than the ones I've already sent out, which is after this date. If you're going to go to that training, please let me know ahead of time. I'll send out registration for that in the email tomorrow. So that will be on February 18th. And again, I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. By February 15th, 2018, all members of the team, everyone must be entered into GMS. By the time, I'll have everyone entered into their teams, as well as the individual area program must enter every skills athlete into their event, level 1, level 2. This is the time that they need to do this by. 2:15, all skills athletes must be entered into their event, whether they're doing level 1 or level 2. I and the state office will not be putting the skills athletes into their events. I will only be putting the teams into their teams. That is a big difference. The team assessment form, it's used for divisioning and matching of abilities teams at the beginning of the season. As we get later in the season and we start getting results in, I will rely more on the results over the team assessments, but that will still be used. Please, please, please be as accurate as you possibly can. Rate your athletes the way they should be rated. Okay, that's a very big thing. Don't rate them low because, oh, they're not as good. Rate them how they should be. And then that way we can match up everyone correctly. Okay, again, this must be submitted to me by February 5th. Okay, so this is just the first page is an Excel document, so there's 3 different tabs. The first tab that explains the process and how to do everything. Tab 2 is the individual skills. I have been working with my sports management team, and we added in individual defense and team defense this year. Okay, this is a change from last year. Previously, this form was used last year for the first time. So this past year, we decided to add in defense defensive properties, because obviously defense is a big part of the game of basketball. So we wanted to make sure that was included in the team assessment form. So a huge thank you to my sports management team for helping come up with the criteria for the individual and team defense. So what you'll do for each individual player is rate them based off of the numbers in the parentheses at the end of each statement. Okay, you'll rate them in there, put the score in where it says score. At the bottom, it will give the total score. You will then transfer all of these scores over to this form. Okay, this is the summary form. You'll put everyone's name on here, which is the roster. If you have a jersey number, great. Athlete or partner. The age of the athlete, that is very important. Please, please, please put the age of the athlete on there. Do not leave that blank. Please try to get their height if you can. That's going to be a big deterrent if someone is missing or someone gets hurt and they can't play and we need to change your assessments. The height is something that is a big thing that we can take into consideration. And then you have ball handling, passing, and all the other categories from the previous page. So please, please, please fill out this entire form. Okay? If you put all the head coach's information out, any assistant coaches, if you have more than 2 assistant coaches, please let me know that so that I have all that information. I need all the head coaches and assistant coaches to put them into GMS onto your team. If I don't have that information, then that person cannot be on the bench. Okay? If you have questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me and I will definitely answer your questions and try to walk you through this process. It seems like a lot, I know. I promise you it's really not that bad and it's not going to take you that long. You don't have to put each athlete through different stations to put this in. Just go through each athlete and rate them the best you can. So this is new this year. We have an individual skills roster. Again, usually I don't have a list of the individual skills athletes, so this year I'm changing that so that I know who's in individual skills, if they're in level 1 or level 2, their gender, their age, as well as the coach's information. And this is another thing, I need to know who the coaches are for each program. That way I can put you on all the emails and make sure that I have every piece of information correct. Okay, so like I said, this is new in 2018. This one is for individual skills only. And please only fill out one of these per delegation. Okay, if you have 20 people, add more lines if you need to. But please don't give me 2 separate forms for one delegation that says level 1 or level 2. Put them all together. If you want, group them by level 1 and level 2 so that they're separate. But please put everyone on the same form. So there is a poll, and I'm hoping I did this correctly. There's a poll in the panel, or the GoToWebinar panel, that something I've talked to my sports management team about is the opportunity to have 3 qualifiers, make it mandatory for 3 qualifiers for all teams instead of just 2. So you would attend the required qualifier as well as 2 others, okay? I want to make sure everyone gets enough playing opportunities. Going to 2 qualifiers is great. We want to make sure you can get as much game situation as you can, okay? The 3rd qualifier could be an in-house qualifier, which means that it's just 2 teams playing each other during either a practice or a different time in the gym. The only thing with that is I would have to approve the team that you're playing. You can't play someone from your own county if the skills level is not compatible. It has to be comparable to your team. And if I don't approve it, it does not count. So I believe in the panel, you should be able to vote in the poll. Please be honest about this. There's 4 different options. If you think it's possible for your team to make 3 qualifiers, if you think it's going to be difficult but possible, you might be able to make it work, or not at all possible. Okay? So please take that poll, answer those questions for your specific team. I want to make sure everyone gets these opportunities. We have the next slide, next 1 or 2 slides is going to be all the qualifiers. We have a total of 15 qualifiers this year, just so far. I haven't heard from everyone, which is great. We've added qualifiers, so this is why I think we would be able to do 3 qualifiers. I know it's going to be a little more difficult for some people, but I want to get your opinion on this.
Melissa, 2 things. While folks are answering that, we did get a question from Coach Kara Gregg in Howard County. Do they need to rate the mentors in player development, or is it just the athletes on the team?
In player development, in player development is just going to be the athletes.
Okay. And then the
as mentors, since they don't have to, they're not fully playing, I don't need a rating for them.
Okay. And then the second thing, Coach Gregg indicated that she's on mobile and she doesn't see the poll, as does several other folks here are noting that they don't see the poll. So if you don't see the poll, you can just go ahead and type in your thoughts. Don't worry about the specific wording. Basically, is this something that's possible without any trouble? It's difficult, but you can do it, or it's just not possible at all. If you could just type that in. If you don't see the poll, you do see the poll, go ahead and use the poll to do that.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was my first time trying to get a poll in. Wasn't really sure if I did it quickly. Oh,
there
hey,
we go. Yeah, sorry. There's just for future reference. There's a little launch button. Okay.
Okay, good enough. Sorry about that, guys. So if you can answer the poll, I'm going to wait a minute while you guys get to that, and then we'll get moving again.
Wow, look at those numbers.
Oh, very cool. All right, thank you guys. I'm going to keep going while you guys keep going with the poll. Okay.
Melissa, you can't see your slides, I don't think, if while the poll is up.
Okay, so we'll hang out a little bit longer.
Okay. Well, is there anybody else take the next 15 seconds? And okay. Well, I'll go ahead and close it.
One person has voted, which is good.
Okay, and I think you need to show your screen again.
Okay.
There we go.
You should be able to see my screen now.
Yep.
So it looks like a good chunk, most people, almost half, said it'll be difficult but possible to do 3 qualifiers, which is great. 33% said it's completely possible, which is awesome. I like to hear that. Out of the 6% that said it was not at all possible, if you could raise your hand or at least let us know why you think it wouldn't be possible, as well as those that said it would be very difficult but might be able to make it work. Just any feedback would be awesome on that.
Okay. And Melissa, one other thing, Coach Sheeman from Anne Arundel County typed in on the questionnaire, if this is implemented, would the requirement for 3 qualifiers also apply to skills athletes, or would it only be teams?
I would only make it teams. Since we allow individual skills to only go to 1 qualifier and have it in-house, it's a little more difficult to get the skills athletes since they are lower functioning, lower ability. So it would just be for the teams, not individual skills. Okay.
And then a couple other coaches were indicating they'd like to see the dates and such before they commit.
Of course.
Yeah, but this is great that at least for the folks who did respond, looks like almost 3/4 said they could do it.
That's great. And like I said, this is just something that I would like to do, and my sports management team was a crucial part in getting this set up as well, just to give everyone more opportunity to play.
Okay, I'm sorry. And folks know if you're typing in comments here. We do have to get the comments at the end as well, so we aren't going to lose them. I'm not going to read all of them here, but it looks like a few of the folks who had indicated that it wasn't possible have chimed in, indicating difficulty with transportation, difficulty getting families or caregivers to get them to practices and qualifiers, and similar types of things as well. So.
Okay. And like I said, this could be a home and away series where you invite another county or another team to one of your practices. That's a option as long as I approve the two teams that are playing to make sure that they're somewhat compatible. That's another option as well to make that third qualifier. All right. So this is a list of most of the qualifiers. The next slide is going to be all the Howard County league dates, which they've been doing for the last, I believe, 2 or 3 years, which is amazing. So right now, these are the listed qualifiers. I'm still working on the required 5v5 traditional qualifier. As of right now, I don't have a exact date or location. I'm just waiting on confirmation. Once I have that, which I'm hoping, I was told it's supposed to be this week, I will get that right out to everyone. But here's everything else. I'm still waiting on Hartford and Prince George's to get dates and locations set. And then, again, once I have those, I'll get them right out to you guys. These are the Howard County league dates. Please reach out to the people listed here based on what level your team is. So there's 5v5 traditional, 1 date, 2 dates for 3v3, which is they'll have traditional and player development at both of them. And then there's 2 dates for 5v5 player development. So if you're interested in going to one of the Howard County dates, all of these dates will be played at Glenelg Country School, right in Ellicott City. Great facility. They have 2 courts. Is where the 3v3 and 5v5 player development required qualifiers are hosted, as well as a skills qualifier. So it's a great location. Howard County does a great job at running these. And again, a huge thank you to everyone at Howard County involved for setting these dates up and running these for more playing opportunities for our athletes. And again, you don't have to write all these down because this will get sent out tomorrow.
Okay, 2 things. One, Coach Schnorf, Cole, I'm not sure what county you're with, but
Ours.
asked a question, okay. Does every athlete have to attend 3 qualifiers or just enough athletes to field a team at each of 3 qualifiers?
It needs to be every athlete. If there's a extenuating circumstance, then you can reach out to me and talk to me about it. But to make it so that I and my management team make the divisions for the state tournament as best as we can, we need the entire team at all the qualifiers. Otherwise, it makes it very difficult to judge that team without some players.
Okay, and we do have one hand raised from Coach Costanzer. Let me open that up. Coach, your line should be open if you have a quick question. And it looks like Coach Costanzer lowered her hand, so we'll.
Okay.
She's muted again. Okay. Back
All
to
right,
it.
so we'll get going. If you have any questions, again, raise your hand or just type it in and Mike will answer them best he can. Just going on with some rules and process highlights. Most of this is review. There are no new rules as of this year. I checked already, nothing new. So individual skills, as I said, area programs will enter them into the event, which is either level 1 or level 2. You will send me a roster, that roster form that we attach to the follow-up email tomorrow, indicating what level and their entire roster for individual skills, and send me the results of your qualifiers so that I have them with me, just so I know that they've been going on. You have the qualifiers, and in case, you never know, something might happen, someone might lose some results. So if I have them, it makes it really easy for me just to grab them and send them to you. Teams, SOMD will enter the rosters into GMS. All team assessments are due to me by February 5th. Team assessments count as a final roster. So once it's sent to me, cannot change it. So these are final rosters by February 5th. That gives you plenty of time to make your teams and make any changes. February 5th, nothing else can change after that. Just a few rule reminders. 3v3, both traditional and PDU. Minimum roster size is 5 players, a max of 8. So if you have a 3v3 team, you have to have at least 5 and no more than 8 players. Game time, you'll have 2 10-minute halves with a 2-minute halftime. And I did not take that out, but the game will not end if you are up by 15. The game will continue for the entire 20 minutes. Sorry about that. I'll make sure that gets taken out before I send these tomorrow. Okay. Clock management, it's a running clock for the entire 10 minutes except the last minute of each half. Then it will be a stop clock on every whistle. You get 2 60-second timeouts per game. And then you start each game with a coin flip for possession with each official. Okay. 5v5, minimum roster of 8, max of 12. So you cannot have more than 12 players on your roster. If you are a 5v5 player development team, then that includes your mentors. They count in that 12. Okay. My suggestion for all unified and PDU 5-on-5 PDU teams and unified teams, please have more than 2 unified partners. 2 have to be playing at all times, but please, please, please have more than 2 on your roster. We've had issues where a partner can't make it to a game. You can't play with 4 athletes and 1 partner. Has to be 3 and 2. Okay. Game times, 4 6-minute quarters, a 5-minute halftime, 1 minute between each quarter. Depending on the qualifiers, this might get shortened. Okay, so be aware of that. Depending on games, time limit, all that, the competition director does have the right to change the game times. Okay. It's a running clock except on foul shots in the last 2 minutes of each half. And it's going to be a stop clock on every whistle. Timeouts, you get 2 60-second timeouts per team per half. Timeouts do not carry over. So if you only use 1 timeout in the first half, then you only get the 2 in the second half. You do not get that one that you did not use carried over. Okay? Start a game is a jump ball. Some additional rules, 3v3, no team fouls or individual fouls, hence no foul shots. Okay? The referee can take any necessary action to address individuals and teams who frequently foul. It is at the discretion of our officials. We have great officials. They know the rules. They know what they're doing. If you have a player that is fouling too aggressively or fouling too much, they can tell you that you have to have a substitute, and you must listen to them. They can also eject a player or forfeit the game for someone. Okay? Teach your players not to foul. Play fair ball, aggressive, but fair. Okay? This is a very big thing. Again, it is up to our officials. There's no yelling at the officials. There's no arguing with the officials. Their call is final. If they tell you to substitute a player, you must substitute that player with no argument. You can ask them nicely why or what happened. No yelling or arguing with the officials' calls. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this. It's all same as it has in the past. Change of possession, they have to clear it past the foul line extended. There will be lines on the court with tape to make it visually easy for all the athletes. Can pass the ball to a teammate to clear it. So if I get the rebound, I can pass over the foul line extended line, and that will clear it to one of my teammates. Okay? So 5v5 traditional unified.
Melissa, before you go into that, we do have raised hands here. John Crone, we're unable to undo your line. I'm not sure how you're hooked in by audio, so I can't open up the line for you. But Coach Malinowski, you should be able to speak.
Can you hear me? I don't hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. So I was looking at, going back to the scheduling. I only saw one unified for qualifiers for unified at the present moment, plus potential Harford County, which I know we usually do have unified. So that's only two. Is there any more being planned that you know are aware of?
If you reach out to the areas hosting a 5v5 qualifier, most of them will allow unified teams in as well.
Okay.
So if it says 5v5, it's unified and traditional usually.
Okay. Thank you.
And you guys can host one too if you want.
Well, we're looking at one, I think. So.
Good.
Okay.
Is there any more questions, Mike?
Not that the only other one was again Coach Crone, but his audio is not the way that we can open it up. I'm not sure what the issue is.
Okay, John, you might need to put in the code. There's a 2-digit code that needs to get put in, the audio code. You might need to do that to be able to speak. Okay,
and I'm sorry. Actually, we have so many folks on the call, which is great. You can't see the entire window of the list. So Coach Shapiro and Coach Stroud both had questions. Coach Shapiro, let's see. You're self-muted. I'm trying. There you go. You should be able to speak.
Yes, I can speak.
Yep.
I have one concern, and I like the idea of the 3 qualifiers, but I am a little concerned that requiring each athlete to be at 3 qualifiers might create a burden on some athletes. And I wonder how loose we'll be about that requirement.
I mean, I can't say right now. It really depends on the reason the athlete can't come. The reason to have 3 qualifiers is to get them more playing experience, because just sitting there practicing for weeks, it gets boring. You want to give them that playing experience, that game experience. And like I said, it can be out of practice, so they're not, one team isn't traveling. You can invite another team to your practice. That can count as long as I okay the 2 teams that are playing.
So we might actually do better to try to schedule ourselves for 4 qualifiers so that each of our athletes is at 3.
Yeah, that works.
All right. Now, one more follow-up question. I'm sorry but is there a requirement that coaches attend 3 qualifiers?
Well, I mean, preferably the head coach and assistant coaches should be at every qualifier. If they have some kind of scheduling conflict, as long as one of the other coaches on that roster are there, that's okay.
All right.
Okay, and Coach Stroud, line is...
Hi, Melissa. When you have the thing here where the official can bench the player, is that is there a minimum time for that or a maximum time for that?
You can ask the official based off of the foul or...
Bob, I've just muted your phone, so if you had a follow-up with that, the background noise was really bad while Melissa was trying to answer. So if you need a follow-up, go ahead and raise your hand again, but I've muted your phone.
Thanks, Mike. So, Bob, it really depends on the official and how bad the call was or how bad the foul was. In that case, you would just ask the official. He might just say, let them cool off for a minute or 2, then they can go back in. But that you would work out with the official. we're not going to say that there's an exact time that they can't go back in.
Okay, and then last, and we'll move on. Coach Greg, Kara, I'm trying to unmute yours, and it looks like you're self-muted. You have your own. You have to unmute your own phone. Try one more time, Kara. There we go.
Okay. I had two questions. One was the 5v5 qualifiers that are listed. You said they're also for Unified. Are they for player development as well?
That's something you would have to ask the person hosting the qualifiers. Usually, since there's not as many teams, probably not. I know Prince George's is going to have 2 player development teams, 5v5 this year, so theirs might be, but you would have to ask the person hosting the qualifier.
Okay. I missed what you said about Prince George's.
Okay, Kara, one thing that we can do is after we get all the rosters in and we know how many player development teams there are, we can get those coaches connected together and see if they can't coordinate what events they could potentially, most of those teams could go to.
Okay.
Yeah, and once I get all the team assessments in, I will create an Excel sheet like I have in the past that lists every team, with what level they are, how they rated themselves, as well as their contact information, so you can reach out to each individual coach for each team. So I will, after I get everything, I will make sure I get that out to all the coaches.
Okay. Then the other question was about the mentors. If a team shows up and they have only one mentor, then will that game be forfeited?
Yes.
Now, can we play anyway, just so that the athletes haven't gone all that way for no reason? I mean, figure out, do 4-1.
That's going to be more of a day of situation.
Okay.
I can't really answer that. I know there was that issue last year.
Right.
And that's why I suggest having at least 3 to 4 mentors on each team.
Right.
So that does not happen. I know last year at one of the qualifiers, I allowed one of the coaches to step in and be a mentor. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Okay? I know it's, for the athletes, you need to have at least 3 to 4 mentors on each team, and they cannot be switching from team to team.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, that'll be more of a day of situation.
All right.
But my upfront answer is no. I mean, I can't really answer that, to be honest.
Right.
Okay, that's it for questions for right now. If you want to go ahead, we have gotten a couple of folks that are asking about the slides. The slides and a link will be sent out, I believe, tomorrow. So yeah,
I'll
everybody.
Get that out. I will get this all out tomorrow to anyone that is registered, as well as all the 2017 basketball coaches that have signed, that participated last year. All right, moving along. The Player Development Unified. So this is a little different than 5v5 Unified. There are mentors on the court. When bringing the ball down the court, mentor can accompany the athlete and provide instruction, but the athlete must be the person dribbling the ball. The mentors can dribble a little bit. They can pass. They're mostly there to be coaches on the court. Okay? They can give verbal instruction. They can move a player to where they need to be moved. Their own players. Okay? There are no fast breaks allowed at this level. This is a learning level for 5v5 PDU. Obviously, 3-on-3, there's no fast breaks anyway. But for 5v5, there are no fast breaks allowed. Okay? This is a teaching level. We're here to have the athletes learn how to play full court basketball. Okay? It's a stepping stone to get to 5v5 traditional and unified. Again, I'm not going to go through all this. Just to highlight, mentors cannot shoot, steal the ball, set screens, play defense, or rebound. The only time they can rebound is if it comes directly to them and they're not moving. Okay, they cannot go after rebounds so that their team gets it. Okay, they can give verbal on-court instructions, limited dribble, and pass the ball. Okay, like I said, they act more as coaches on the court. 3-point shots count at all levels. Every court we play on has a 3-point line. Should have a 3-point line. 3-on-3 and 5-on-5 both count having 3-pointers. So if someone shoots it outside of the 3-point line and makes it, 3 points. Okay. Principle of meaningful involvement. Obviously, I'm not going to go through this word for word. Pretty much make sure each athlete plays and has a valued role on the team. Okay. Don't just have them on the team and have them sit down on the bench the whole game or only play them 1 or 2 minutes. Make sure they have that meaningful involvement. Okay. Uniforms must be matching shorts and shirts. Everyone must match. It's a big thing. Don't come in with the same uniforms, which is just like the reversible pennies, and all different color shorts. That's not going to fly. Everyone must match. Okay? If they don't match, they need to change. If they don't have something to change into, then they're not playing. Bottom line. Everyone must match. A new thing this year is, I know we had issues with this last year about leggings to wear under the shorts. We are going to allow them. They have to match the uniform. They can be white, they can be black, or they can be the color of the uniform. Everyone that's wearing leggings must wear the same color. So if one person's wearing white, everyone has to wear white. If someone's wearing black, they have to wear black. Solid colors, matches the uniform. No camo, no crazy colors, matches the uniform. Okay? That's the only way this is going to be allowed. Same as the undershirts. Everything must be the same color and match the uniforms if they wear them. Not everyone has to wear an undershirt. Not everyone has to wear the leggings. But if you do, the whole team has to match. Otherwise, I'm going to make them take it off before they play. Just going through a few things about the age grouping. Elementary schools, 8 to 11-year-olds. Middle school, 12 to 15. High school is 16 to 21. And adults are 22 plus. Okay? This has not changed. This has been the same since before I started on staff. You can submit exemptions to have someone play up. 100% fine. Just because you submit something, an exemption, does not mean it's automatically approved. You have to get that approval from me. Okay? Without that approval, I can say no, depending on the facts. If they are usually players at least 18 or older can play up in the adult age group, provided they have the exemption form. Those are usually pretty standard, pretty okay to play up. They'll have to be approved. Exemptions for athletes who are 16 or 17 that want to play in the young adult. Again, I have to approve them. Please fill out the form correctly and don't put the same explanation in for every form. Okay? Don't just say they are whatever age, they're 16 years old, they can play with this team. Please put a detailed description and a detailed explanation of why this person is okay to move up. Okay? Based off of this, I will make a decision case by case. Mike, is there anything else you want to talk about with this?
Only that, this is a variation on the written policy. This is how we've been operating for years, so this is not a change in anything. It's just making sure folks are aware of this. So this is nothing new. If you've been involved with the program for at least the last 5 years since I've been back on staff, this is how we've applied the rule, or at least the last 4 years. So just wanted to get it in writing. So no panics, not a change from anything we've been doing.
All right. Coach's Code of Conduct. So this is in writing. It was significantly revised within the last few months. Biggest thing, you got respect for all others, ensure a positive experience. So respect for others, you respect their rights, their dignity, the worth of the athletes, unified partners, coaches, volunteers, spectators, everyone within Special Olympics. You will treat them all the same, regardless of sex, ethnic origin, religion, ability. You do not judge or hinder anyone based off of anything, their gender, sex, like I said, religion. Treat everyone with respect. Ensuring a positive experience. Like I said, I'm not going to go through these, but you'll be fair, considerate, and honest with the athletes. Communicate them using language that they can understand. You will ensure that the scores are accurate that are provided for each athlete and unified partner. You will not send me a team assessment form ranking everyone low so that you can play in a lower division. Rank everyone the way that they should be ranked, okay? Ensure that they have a positive experience. There are going to be some games that aren't that good. I will make sure and do my best that that does not happen at the state tournament, okay? At qualifiers, there's only so much we can do. There's only so many teams that can attend each qualifier. Unfortunately, not everyone is going to have that close nail-biter game, okay? You'll act professionally and take responsibility for your actions. You'll watch your language, your manner. You will be on time. You will be prepared, and you will demonstrate high standards, okay? You will display control, respect, dignity, and professionalism at all events, at everything involved, every athlete, unified partner, coaches, officials, everyone involved, you will treat with respect. And they will treat you with respect. The opposite coaches treat each other, everyone that you come in contact with respect. A new thing this year is vaping. I will not vape, smoke, or use vaping products, e-cigarettes, in a non-smoking area, including all Special Olympics training and competition venues. Obviously, there is no smoking at Special Olympics events. We are now adding vaping, which is the e-cigarettes, and those type of vaping products that they are not allowed, okay? Quality service to the athletes and unified partners. You'll provide a planned training program. You'll keep copies of medicals, training, and competition records for each athlete that you coach and unified partner if you're unified. You will follow all Special Olympics, International Federation, and National Federation / governing body rules for your sport. Okay, you will follow all of the rules, make sure everything is going well, and everything is having some quality service for these athletes and unified partners to make sure they're having that good experience. Okay, last, health and safety of the athletes and unified partners. Okay, to ensure that the equipment and facilities are safe, ensure that the equipment, rules, training, and environment are appropriate for the age and ability of your athletes and unified partners. You'll make sure their medical form, review each medical form, and know of any issues that an athlete on your team may have. Okay, you encourage your athletes and unified partners to seek out medical advice when required. So if someone sprains their ankle, make sure they have a doctor's note clearing them to play again. Make sure if something happens, they have that documentation and you get them to the right medical advice.
Just a note to folks. As Melissa indicated, the codes of conduct were revised significantly. That was just the coach's code. In addition to the athlete's code, which was, all of them were revised, there is now also a spectator's code as well as a family and caregivers code. So it's, and that was at the request of the area leadership your area directors and others to put those in place. We'll send the entire code out with the slide deck for you so that you have it. It can also be, well, it may sound like we're enforcing it with the coaches and strict and such. It can also be extremely helpful to you should you have any difficulty with family members, other volunteers, spectators, and so on down the line. Just work with your area directors, who most of whom at least have been very intimately and actively involved with the development of those changes. We hope that it will be a helpful tool across the board.
Okay, thank you. Team captains. I think we started this last year. If you have team captains on your team, reach out to Jason Schrimmel so that he is aware and share the names of your captains. This way you can start developing leaders on your team. Okay, this is a great opportunity to get that leadership and get some of your athletes more of that leadership role. So email Jason Schrimmel with the names of your captains. So this is something else that Jason Schrimmel and Kira Northrup asked me to put in. If you have a story, let us know. Okay, we want to do stories and put stories out there of our athletes. It could be how much you love Special Olympics Maryland. Tell us your best experience with Special Olympics, how Special Olympics Maryland has changed your life. If you don't want to send a story about yourself, coaches, you know your athletes and their families extremely well. If you think there's something, no story is too little. Okay, we want to get as many stories out there as we can. We want to get anything out through social media, through our newsletters, everything, to get our name out there and get more support for our athletes and show them how amazing our athletes are. Okay, so if you have questions about this, there's an email at the bottom, specialolympicsmd@gmail.com. No story, like I said, no story is too small.
Okay. And Melissa, before you click off this page, because the next two slides I'll touch on, I just want to point out that we have Coach Sheeman from Anne Arundel County there with her son at snowshoeing. So have a celebrity on the line as well with her here. So if you can go ahead. Just want to be really quick and make sure folks are aware on the next two slides. I guess this is the advertising, but there's an excellent opportunity for areas to have teams for the Polar Bear Plunge. We even suggest, hey, work with your basketball team to put a plunge team together, and it benefits your area. From the area's perspective, at least, it's a opportunity to raise money where you have no risk. You can't lose any money. There's no upfront cost or anything along those lines that the area has to take into account or to utilize. You create teams. We'll see a slide on the next slide with some pictures there. There's a split after we cover the shirt, the cost of the shirt and credit card fees, which is between $13 and $15 typically per person. There's then a split for that goes 70-30, where the area gets 70% and the state would get 30%. And the state bears the entire cost of holding the event out of that 30% for there. So it's the area is getting a great deal here, and it's one of our ways that we hope to get more folks there, but also to really support our area programs. Again, it's risk-free. There's no way to lose money, and we really strongly encourage folks to take advantage of this on the Bear Plunge. So if you go to the next slide to sign up, and you can have more than one team from an area. You just go to plungemd.com and select Polar Bear Plunge, form a team, and a team does not have to be 50 people. It can be 3 people. It can be whoever you can get to sign up. In order for a participant to get a sweatshirt to meet it, they have to raise or donate on their own, but they have to raise at least $75 for folks, and it's all done online. You can use a lot of social media to make it work. And again, 70% after that, the bit for the incremental cost of the sweatshirt and the credit card fees, 70% of that goes straight to your area. So again, great opportunity And it's rare that you can come across a fundraiser where it's not possible for you to lose money. And we really hope a lot of teams, a lot of areas, and a lot of individual teams take advantage of this. We'll include some information in the when we send the slides out in the link if you have any questions. But don't want to waste not waste, but spend any more time on this tonight. But look forward to seeing a lot of you out there for the plunge. Back to you.
Okay. All right. And on that note, we're going to open it up to questions. So if you have a question, please raise your hand so that we can answer anything that you guys have or continue to write in. So I'm not going to go through each county, but if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. This is the time that you do it.
Okay, and Melissa, while we're looking for additional questions from folks, can you just point out what the remaining slides are in the deck that we will not be going through, but make sure, just so folks know that they're there?
Yeah, so the rest of the slides are just the registration forms. I'm not, like Mike said, we're not going to go through all these. They're the same forms as in the past. Work with your leadership. It's just talking about the medical form. Later on, it's the volunteer application, the incident report. So if there's an incident, an injury, or any kind of incident out of practice, you need to fill out the form incident report.
Okay. And looking here, I don't see anybody raising their hand, and I don't see anything else typed in. So it may be that folks have the information that they need. Of course, this is not the only opportunity for folks to ask questions.
Right. Feel free to email me with any questions that you do have. I obviously will answer whatever I can.
Okay, Jim Verdun is asking, or I guess confirming, if they can have some help with officials for the Howard County League play days. I think that's part of the plan, right?
Yeah, so with all the qualifiers and league dates, I will reach out to Keith Lampel, who is our head official, and he will do his best to get officials at every single qualifier, every single event that we have. Now, if you do an in-house qualifier where there's just 2 teams coming, might not get some of our officials, but we'll do our best. That might be more of a coaches get to officiate, or if you have a parent that will officiate for you.
Okay. And key to that is, is as much advance notice for any needs. If you throw a qualifier together in 2 weeks, we may not be able to get officials arranged on something like that. So.
Right. But I will definitely do my best to get. I'm going to send Keith the list of qualifiers sometime for probably this week, so that he has it. He can start recruiting for those officials. So Hartford and Prince George's and anyone else that wants to host a qualifier, please give me the dates and locations and how many courts you will have as soon as possible. Looks like Jack Burke.
Yep, Joseph, I'm trying to unmute him. Jack, you're muted on your end as well, so you need to unmute your line. And you should be. Right again. Yeah, Jack, it's still saying that you're muted on your end. Sorry, I can't open the line up for you. Oh, there you go.
Hey.
Is that it?
Yep,
you're
good
good.
to go.
Am I not muted?
Oh, you're not. Love to hear your voice.
I just wanted. I was trying to get on earlier and couldn't do that. Howard County will host on February the 10th from 1 to 3, and on Saturday, March 24th from 1 to 3. We will do a play day, a league day, just to give everybody a heads up. We'll get you something sent out through Melissa, I guess, on that. But just everybody to look down. And we're going to be able to handle probably 10 teams for each event. So just the traditional 300-side coaches, as you're planning your schedule, take a look on that, and I'll get a note off to Melissa this week so she can reach back out to everybody.
Yep, and that's actually one of the slides. It has all the dates.
Okay, I didn't. I was having trouble getting on. I apologize.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
So it will be sent out with the slides tomorrow.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no other questions, which doesn't look like anyone's raising their hand.
typed in.
All right, so we are going to say thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time out to listen to this webinar tonight and be here with us tonight. And I look forward to a great season. Everyone have a good night.
Everybody have a great, happy, and healthy holiday season with your family. Thank you for so much you've been doing so far, and you'll do throughout the season. Have a great time.